There is something happening around you right now. You can feel it. You can't explain it, but you know it's real. The conversations don't hit the same. The distractions don't satisfy you anymore. The noise of the world feels louder, yet your inner voice feels clearer. Chosen one, the energy is shifting. And it's not outside of you. It's within you. You're not crazy for feeling this. You're not too deep. You're not imagining the pull towards something greater. You are sensing a transition, a spiritual turning point, a quiet separation between who you were and who you are becoming. This is how it begins. There comes a moment in every awakened soul's life when the familiar starts to feel foreign. Old habits feel heavy. Certain friendships feel misaligned. Places you once loved now drain you. It's not arrogance. It's not isolation. It's elevation. When you are chosen, you are not chosen for comfort. You are chosen for awareness. You are chosen to see what others overlook. And seeing deeply is not easy. You've always felt different. Even as a child, you questioned things other people accepted. You sensed moods in rooms before anyone spoke. You felt the weight of words. You noticed patterns. You felt connected to something unseen. That wasn't random. That was preparation. Being chosen does not mean being perfect. It means being called to grow beyond the average mindset. It means being stretched. And growth feels like loss before it feels like gain. The energy shift you feel is a sign of expansion. Your awareness is increasing. Your tolerance for mediocrity is decreasing. You can no longer shrink to fit in. You can no longer pretend not to know what you know. You can no longer silence your intuition. And that threatens the world around you. Because when someone begins to awaken, systems feel exposed. False narratives feel weak. Superficial connections feel empty. Society rewards conformity. It rewards distraction. It rewards obedience to trends. But a chosen soul does not move by trends. A chosen soul moves by conviction. That is why you've faced resistance. That is why you've been misunderstood. That is why people have called you too much or too intense. Your depth unsettles shallow spaces. The shift you feel is also separation. Not physical isolation, but energetic refinement. Some people cannot go where you are going. Not because they are bad, but because they are not aligned with your assignment. And that realization hurts. There are nights you feel alone. Moments you question yourself. Seasons where silence surrounds you. But understand this clearly. Isolation is often the classroom of the chosen. In silence, your discernment sharpens. In solitude, your identity strengthens. In stillness, your purpose becomes clearer. The energy shift is not chaos. It is calibration. You are being realigned with your true self. The version of you that is disciplined. The version of you that seeks truth. The version of you that refuses to live asleep. Spiritual awakening is not about chasing mystical experiences. It is about clarity. It is about responsibility. It is about realizing that your life has weight. Your choices matter. Your presence carries influence. And once you realize that, you cannot go back. That's why your conversations are changing. That's why your interests are evolving. That's why your tolerance for negativity is fading. You are not losing yourself. You are finding yourself. But understand this. Every awakening comes with opposition. When you start thinking independently, you disrupt expectations. When you set boundaries, you expose manipulation. When you pursue purpose, you reveal complacency in others. And not everyone will celebrate that. Some will mock you. Some will doubt you. Some will try to pull you back into old patterns, because your growth reminds them of their stagnation. Yet the energy keeps shifting. Doors are closing without force. New insights are appearing without warning. You are outgrowing old environments. You are sensing opportunities before they manifest. You are becoming more intentional. This is not coincidence. A chosen one does not drift through life unconsciously. They observe. They reflect. They move with awareness. And awareness changes everything. You begin to notice how words shape reality. You begin to guard your time. You begin to protect your peace. Not out of fear, but out of understanding. The shift also demands discipline. It's not enough to feel awakened. You must live awakened. That means controlling impulses, strengthening your mind, refining your character. Because elevation without discipline leads to downfall. The chosen path is narrow. It requires integrity when no one is watching. It requires courage when standing alone. It requires faith in the unseen process of growth. But look at yourself. You are still here, still seeking, still questioning. That persistence is not normal. Many give up when things feel uncomfortable. Many numb themselves when truth feels heavy. Many return to distraction when growth feels demanding. You didn't. You kept feeling. You kept thinking. You kept searching for meaning. That is strength. The energy shifting around you is preparing you for responsibility. Greater influence. Greater clarity. Greater impact. Not fame. Not ego. But purpose. And purpose requires purification. Old fears are surfacing so they can be confronted. Old wounds are reopening so they can be healed properly. Old habits are being exposed so they can be removed. This is refinement. You are being shaped, not punished. Tested, not abandoned. Prepared, not rejected. The chosen life is not glamorous. It is transformative. So when you feel the energy shift, don't panic. Don't shrink. Don't run back to comfort. Stand still. Reflect. Pray. Strengthen your mind. Align your actions with your higher calling. You are not here to blend in. You are here to elevate. And elevation always begins with separation. If this message resonates deep in your spirit, it's not by accident. It means you recognize the shift. It means you feel the call. Now it's time to respond to it. Embrace the discipline. Embrace the solitude. Embrace the growth. And if you are ready to fully step into this awakening, then show it. Like this video, so this message reaches other souls who feel the shift. Comment, "I feel the shift," to declare that you refuse to live asleep. Subscribe to Return to Awakening and stand with a community that refuses to ignore the call. The energy is moving. The awakening is real. And you were never meant to stay the same. And as this shift continues, you may notice something else. Your patience is thinner for meaningless arguments. Your heart is heavier around dishonesty. Your spirit is restless in places that lack sincerity. You used to tolerate what drained you. Now your body rejects it. You used to ignore your intuition. Now it speaks too loudly to silence. This is awareness maturing. You are beginning to read between words, to sense intention beyond smiles, to feel truth even when it is unspoken. That sensitivity is not weakness. It is discernment being sharpened. And discernment is dangerous to illusions. The chosen are not easily deceived forever. They may stumble. They may trust the wrong people for a season. But eventually, clarity arrives. And when clarity arrives, it changes your standards. You stop begging for understanding. You stop explaining your worth. You stop shrinking your vision. Because you finally see your value. The energy shift also brings confrontation with yourself. Your excuses become obvious. Your procrastination becomes uncomfortable. Your hidden fears demand attention. You can no longer blame your past for your present in the same way. Awakening removes denial. It removes the luxury of unconscious living. You begin to ask deeper questions. Why am I here? What am I building? Who am I becoming? These questions disturb comfort, but they awaken purpose. And purpose does not allow you to waste years in distraction. It presses on your conscience. It nudges you when you try to settle. It whispers, you are capable of more. That whisper becomes louder during the shift. You might feel an urge to change your routine, to study more, to pray more consistently, to guard your speech. These impulses are not random. They are invitations to level up your character. Because being chosen is not about status. It is about stewardship. Stewardship of your mind. Stewardship of your influence. Stewardship of your time. And when you start taking responsibility seriously, your circle changes. Some will drift away naturally. Conversations will feel forced. Invitations will slow down. But new alignments begin forming quietly. You will meet people who challenge you intellectually, who respect your boundaries, who value depth over drama. This is the reward of refinement. The energy shift also exposes what you truly desire. Not what culture told you to want. Not what trends glorify. But what your soul longs for. Peace over popularity. Integrity over applause. Purpose over pleasure. And that realization can feel lonely at first. Because the path of intention is narrower than the path of impulse. You may notice you crave solitude more than noise, growth more than gossip, truth more than entertainment. This is not isolation. This is elevation of standards. And elevation always demands sacrifice. Sacrifice of old identities. Sacrifice of ego. Sacrifice of comfort. The chosen one must outgrow versions of themselves repeatedly. You are not the same person you were a year ago. And in a year, you will not be who you are now. That constant evolution can feel unstable. But it is actually stability forming at a higher level. The shift also increases accountability. You cannot preach discipline and live in chaos. You cannot speak about growth and avoid effort. Your actions must match your awareness. And that alignment is powerful. When your thoughts, words, and actions align, you become focused. Distractions lose power. Temptations weaken. Because clarity strengthens restraint. You begin to understand that every decision shapes your future self. Every habit compounds. Every compromise costs something. Awakening makes you conscious of that cost. And that consciousness is a gift. You are no longer drifting. You are choosing deliberately. Even your silence becomes intentional. That is growth. The energy shift is also teaching you emotional mastery. You are learning not to react to everything, not to argue every point, not to absorb every negative opinion. You are becoming steady, not cold, not detached, but grounded. Grounded in values, grounded in faith, grounded in purpose. And grounded people are difficult to manipulate. That is why pressure increases when you grow. Because growth disrupts control. But you are no longer easily shaken. You observe before responding. You reflect before deciding. You are thinking long-term now. The chosen mindset sees beyond the moment. It understands that short-term comfort can create long-term regret. So you are choosing discipline over impulse more often, silence over unnecessary conflict, preparation over procrastination. That is the shift becoming visible. It's not just a feeling anymore. It's behavior changing. It's priorities rearranging. It's you stepping into responsibility quietly, consistently. And the more you align with this higher standard, the more peace you feel. Not because life is easier, but because you are clearer. Clarity removes confusion. Clarity removes internal conflict. You know who you are becoming. And even if the world doesn't see it yet, you feel it forming within you. And as this transformation deepens, you may begin to notice how your perception of time changes. You no longer feel comfortable wasting entire days. Moments feel valuable. Hours feel accountable. You start measuring your life differently. Not by excitement, not by attention, but by alignment. Are my actions matching my intentions? Is my routine building the future I claim to want? Am I disciplining myself when no one is watching? These questions become constant companions. The chosen path forces self-honesty. You can't preach light while entertaining darkness in private. You can't seek elevation while feeding habits that anchor you to mediocrity. So the shift begins cleaning your inner world. Your thoughts become more intentional. You catch negative patterns faster. You challenge limiting beliefs instead of accepting them. You are rewiring yourself. And that internal rewiring feels uncomfortable. Because growth always disrupts familiarity. The version of you that enjoyed distraction resists. The version of you that feared responsibility hesitates. But the awakened version, it persists. You begin to realize that discipline is a form of self-respect. That boundaries are a form of self-protection. That consistency is a form of self-honor. And suddenly, you stop apologizing for your standards. You stop feeling guilty for saying no. You stop over-explaining your decisions. You stop chasing validation from people who misunderstand your path. Because your validation now comes from alignment with your principles. The energy shift also heightens your awareness of influence. You notice how easily people are swayed, how quickly narratives shape behavior, how subtly environments shape identity. And you refuse to be molded unconsciously anymore. You become selective. Selective with what you watch. Selective with what you listen to. Selective with who you allow close. Not out of pride, but out of protection of your growth. You realize that exposure affects expansion. And you are expanding. There is also a new hunger inside you. Not for fame, not for applause, but for depth. You crave knowledge that strengthens your mind. You crave worship that strengthens your soul. You crave conversations that challenge your thinking. Surface-level living no longer satisfies you. This hunger is a sign. It means your spirit is stretching beyond comfort. It means your capacity is increasing. An increased capacity demands increased responsibility. You may feel called to lead in quiet ways, to set an example without announcing it, to embody integrity even when it costs you. Because you understand something now. Influence is not always loud. Sometimes it is silent consistency. You also begin noticing patterns in your past. Moments that once felt random now make sense. Trials that once felt unfair now look like preparation. You see how every setback sharpened you. How every betrayal taught discernment. How every hardship built resilience. Nothing was wasted. The chosen journey includes pressure for a reason. Pressure reveals character. Pressure strengthens patience, and patience refines vision. You are learning to delay gratification, to trust gradual growth, to value slow, steady transformation over quick applause. Because you understand that quick rise without foundation leads to collapse. The shift also exposes pride when it appears. It corrects arrogance before it grows. It humbles you when ego tries to take control. You are being trained to lead yourself first. Self-leadership is powerful. It means waking up when you don't feel like it, working when no one is cheering, praying when no one is watching. It means doing right even when wrong seems easier. That consistency builds something unshakable inside you. And as it builds, your confidence changes. It's no longer loud. It's no longer defensive. It becomes quiet certainty. You don't need to prove yourself to everyone. You don't need to respond to every critic. You are anchored. The energy shift is anchoring you in conviction. Conviction that your life has meaning. Conviction that discipline brings freedom. Conviction that temporary sacrifice leads to lasting strength. You also start noticing how easily negativity tries to re-enter. Old temptations resurface. Old habits whisper. Old mindsets attempt to come back. But you see them clearly now. Awareness gives you the power to choose differently. And each time you choose growth over regression, you strengthen your new identity. You are not who you were, and you cannot pretend to be. The shift has exposed too much truth. It has shown you your potential. It has shown you your responsibility. It has shown you your capacity for impact. Now the only question left is whether you will fully commit to becoming who you are capable of being. And commitment is where many hesitate. Because commitment removes excuses. It removes the option of returning to comfort without consequence. Once you see your potential clearly, ignoring it becomes painful. You start feeling uneasy when you procrastinate, restless when you waste your abilities, convicted when you lower your standards. That discomfort is not punishment. It is alignment correcting you. The chosen one cannot live casually forever. Eventually, purpose demands structure. Vision demands sacrifice. And sacrifice demands maturity. You begin to mature emotionally. You no longer respond to every offense. You no longer chase every opportunity. You weigh decisions. You consider consequences. You think beyond today. That level of intentionality sets you apart. While others move impulsively, you are learning restraint. While others seek attention, you are building substance. While others avoid discomfort, you are embracing refinement. Refinement is not glamorous. It is repetitive. It is quiet. It is consistent. Waking up early. Staying disciplined. Choosing integrity. Again and again. The energy shift is teaching you endurance. Because endurance separates momentary motivation from lasting transformation. Motivation is emotional. Endurance is committed. Motivation fades when feelings change. Endurance remains when feelings fluctuate. And you are being trained for endurance. There will be days when you feel powerful, focused, inspired. And there will be days when you feel tired, unseen, questioned. The chosen path includes both. But the difference now is this. You don't quit on difficult days. You reflect. You recalibrate. You continue. That persistence builds internal strength that no one can take from you. You are also learning that not every battle requires your energy. Some arguments are distractions. Some invitations are detours. Some people are lessons, not assignments. Discernment protects destiny, and destiny requires focus. The shift is narrowing your focus, helping you eliminate excess, helping you simplify your life. You are realizing that clarity thrives in simplicity. Too many voices create confusion. Too many goals create fragmentation. So you begin trimming the unnecessary. Less noise, less comparison, less performance, more intention, more discipline, more sincerity. You are becoming centered. Centered people cannot be easily shaken by trends. They cannot be easily manipulated by fear. They move with principle. And principle is powerful. You are also becoming more aware of your speech. You understand now that words shape identity. So you speak life carefully. You avoid careless negativity. You refuse to constantly complain. Not because life is perfect, but because you are guarding your mindset. Mindset directs movement. If your thoughts are chaotic, your actions will follow. If your thoughts are disciplined, your actions align. So you train your mind like a muscle. Reading, reflecting, praying, seeking wisdom over impulse. This is not accidental growth. This is deliberate transformation. And deliberate transformation makes you uncommon. You may feel misunderstood more often now, because not everyone understands intentional living. Some interpret boundaries as arrogance. Some interpret focus as distance. Some interpret discipline as extremism. But you are no longer living for their interpretation. You are living for alignment with your calling. The energy shift is also teaching you patience with the process. You no longer demand instant results. You understand that seeds take time to grow. So you plant daily. You water daily. You trust daily, even when you don't see immediate change. That patience strengthens faith. Faith that effort compounds. Faith that discipline produces fruit. Faith that consistency builds legacy. Legacy is no longer just a word to you. You think about impact, about how you treat people, about what you stand for. You want your presence to elevate rooms, not drain them. So you refine your character intentionally. Kindness with boundaries, confidence without arrogance, strength with humility. Balanced. The chosen one must master balance. Too much pride leads to downfall. Too much fear leads to stagnation. So you walk carefully, aware of your weaknesses, aware of your strengths. And this awareness keeps you grounded. Grounded yet ambitious. Humble yet driven. The shift is shaping you into someone stable under pressure. And stability under pressure is rare. Most people break when tested. Most people compromise when tempted. But you are being trained to stand. To stand in integrity. To stand in discipline. To stand in faith. Even when no one applauds you. Especially when no one applauds you. Especially when no one applauds you, that is when your character is revealed. When the room is silent. When the progress feels invisible. When the results are delayed. That is where the chosen are separated from the distracted. You are learning to work without recognition. To improve without announcement. To sacrifice without broadcasting it. Because you understand something deeper now. Not everything powerful needs to be seen immediately. Roots grow underground first. Strength forms in private first. Conviction is tested in isolation first. And you are in that private building season. There are moments you question if it's worth it. Moments you wonder if anyone notices your effort. Moments you feel tempted to slow down your discipline. but something inside you refuses to quit. That refusal is not ego. It is purpose pressing forward. You are beginning to detach from external validation. Likes do not define you. Compliments do not sustain you. Criticism does not break you the way it used to. You are stabilizing internally. When your identity is internal, the outside world loses its control over you. This is freedom. Freedom from comparison. Freedom from constant approval seeking. Freedom from living to impress. You start living to fulfill. Fulfill your responsibility. Fulfill your calling. Fulfill the potential placed within you. And as you detach from noise, your intuition sharpens even more. You sense misalignment quickly. You detect insincerity faster. You recognize distractions before they consume you. This level of awareness requires courage. Because once you see clearly, you must act accordingly. You can't claim awareness and still tolerate what harms your growth. You can't speak about purpose and continue entertaining sabotage. So you begin making hard decisions, ending certain conversations, distancing from certain environments, adjusting certain habits. Each decision feels heavy at first, but afterward you feel lighter. That lightness is confirmation. The energy shift is also teaching you emotional regulation. You no longer allow anger to control your tongue. You no longer allow frustration to dictate your direction. You pause. You breathe. You think. That pause is powerful. In that pause, wisdom has space to respond. You are not suppressing emotion. You are mastering it. Mastery over emotion prevents regret. Mastery over emotion protects relationships. Mastery over emotion preserves dignity. And dignity is something you value deeply now. You carry yourself differently. Not arrogantly. Not rigidly. But with quiet awareness. Your posture changes. Your speech slows down. Your decisions become intentional. People may not understand what changed, but they feel it. Energy does not lie. The shift inside you radiates outward. You attract different conversations, different opportunities, different responsibilities, because your internal standards are broadcasting externally. And with greater opportunity comes greater testing. You may be tempted with shortcuts, quick success, easy recognition, but something inside you hesitates. You have learned that shortcuts often cost integrity, and integrity is non-negotiable for the chosen. Integrity means doing right when wrong is easier. It means honoring commitments even when inconvenient. It means staying aligned with your principles under pressure. Pressure is increasing because your capacity is increasing. You are being stretched. Stretched mentally. Stretched emotionally. Stretched spiritually. Not to break you, but to expand you. Expansion can feel overwhelming. You may feel like you are outgrowing everything at once. Your mindset, your circle, your habits. But this is the sign of acceleration. When growth accelerates, comfort decreases temporarily. You feel like you are between versions of yourself. Not who you used to be. Not fully who you are becoming. That in-between space is sacred. It is uncomfortable but necessary. In that space, you redefine yourself. You clarify your values. You solidify your identity. You decide who you truly are without external influence. And once that decision is made internally, no external pressure can easily shake it. The chosen one must go through identity refinement. Because without identity clarity, influence becomes dangerous. Power without clarity corrupts. Influence without discipline misguides. So you are being shaped carefully. Every delay is intentional. Every test is strategic. Every discomfort is purposeful. Nothing is random. The energy shifting around you is aligning circumstances with your evolution. Certain doors close to protect you. Certain opportunities delay to mature you. Certain losses happen to free you. It may not feel fair. It may not feel easy. But it is shaping resilience within you. Resilience that does not collapse under criticism. Resilience that does not fade under pressure. Resilience that remains steady when emotions fluctuate. You are becoming internally unshakable. And that kind of strength cannot be faked. It is earned through patience, through discipline, through perseverance. You are earning it now.